Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing great. Now this video is a bit overdue. I've been meaning to speak about my thoughts on the state of Rust for quite some time, but after the most recent changes I saw about the introduction of a team system, I knew it was time to make my voice heard. Pure chaos. That's what I love about Rust. You spawn into a living, breathing world where there are no rules. I keep coming back to it because it gives me a feeling that no other game can give. That heart-pumping adrenaline when you're fighting someone at 15 health and you're loaded with loot, or when a big group sees you and you hide in a bush as they all run by. Now I've been playing this game for a few years, both in large groups, small groups, as well as solo. I've played wipes where my entire focus is PvP, but I've also played wipes where I build a shop, or set up a trap base, or just run around making friends and acting silly. My point is that I've seen numerous sides of Rust in the 2,600 or so hours I've played. Now I love Rust, and our dev team is amazing. We are spoiled. So in this video, I'm going to give my opinion on the state of the game, and what I think they should change, and also what they are doing well. I'm going to go over some main issues, and then at the end of the video, compile a condensed list of the changes I want to see. The main issues I'm going to be focusing on are scrap cost and the progression system, barrel spawns and loot tables, gun balance, base upkeep, and the team system. So let's get started. Having a progression system is healthy for Rust. It's good that you're invested in a server once you've learned a number of blueprints there. However, the current system was introduced and has seen very little tweaking since its inception. The costs of researching specific items should be revisited. Certain low-tier fundamentals should also be default, like the ladder and water pipe shotgun, as well as most decorative or role-player items. The workbenches also need a bit of work in that it can be a huge blow to lose one of those when you get raided. If there was some mechanism so that once you've made one workbench on a wipe, you could make another with fewer materials or something, that would be a nice change. 2. Barrel spawns and loot tables. A few years ago, under the initial blueprint system, barrels were good. They would drop bows, crossbows, occasional guns, random rockets, and even high-tier blueprints. Remember that heart-pumping adrenaline I talked about before? Well, imagine you're out and about, farming, and you hit a barrel, then suddenly a rocket pops out. Just like that, your in-game life took on a whole new meaning. You need to get back to your base so that you could store the rocket. That was fun. The unexpected moment of finding a high-tier item was great. Also, having good items in barrels meant that if you were raided or new on a server, it's much easier to get started, and you'd have the tools to defend yourself from established players. I would like the barrel loot tables to be adjusted to give more useful items. Gun balance. I think most guns are in a pretty decent spot at the moment. Nice job, devs. Now, one general mantra about guns in Rust is that they should be easy to get and hard to use. Also, every gun should be viable, but just be outclassed by the tier above it. In other words, the best guns should only be a bit better than the worst guns. The issue with the current system of balancing is that the best guns are so difficult and time-consuming to get that they have to be extremely strong in order to make the time investment actually worth it. This is a poor way of balancing because it removes a lot of spontaneity from the game. The best guns should be slightly less difficult to get, harder to use, and not completely dominate lower-tier guns. I also want to see primitive weapons like the bow, crossbow, spears, as well as most melee get a bleed buff. Basically, these weapons would do the same amount of damage they currently do, but cause much higher bleeding. Upkeep. I have a few issues with this feature. I understand why it was introduced, and also note that it's been very effective at reducing the number of vast Zerg bases. However, before it was introduced, I used to see huge public works, huge, on the biggest weekly wipe in official servers. Things like hotels, bridges, fighting pits, and much more. These are no longer viable to make, and some of my most fun Rust experiences occurred in and around these types of buildings. I don't know what the solution is to allow for these public works while also making it hard for Zergs to make huge bases, but I would like it to be looked at, because I really miss those projects. Now the team system. This is what actually made me realize that I had to make this video. Currently, the biggest difference between good groups and great groups is their ability to communicate. Strong communications allow a large group to coordinate their efforts, but it's a difficult thing to do, so the development of that skill is critical to any member of a large group. This change completely removes that element of the game. On the screen right now is a clip of the team system. I'll let you check it out. Now remember, Rust is a survival game. This type of user interface has no place in a game like Rust. It is a change so far removed from the hardcore survival game that I started playing years ago. This change will give a buff to large groups, which are already the most powerful entities in the game by far. One great element of this game is that a player can take advantage of unorganized groups and the chaos of big fights. With the introduction of this system, fights will quickly become stale as they will more resemble Call of Duty than a desperate combat situation. Now here's some of my final thoughts. The changes to streamline and make the game more accessible have overall been great. The devs have fixed an enormous number of issues. However, some changes have actually culminated in a gaming experience that can sometimes just be less fun. As Rust has been streamlined and improved, there were bugs and exploits that were removed. Many of these exploits created a certain meta within Rust, but as they were removed, no new gameplay features came in to replace the exploits. Remember arrow raiding? There's really no low-tech way of getting through wooden doors anymore, and I miss that. It was fun. Sure, it didn't make sense and I don't want to see it return, but I want things like that, where you can spend a bit of time raiding, and I don't want to have to spend hours trying to find a bean can grenade, research it, farm for the materials, and then be able to craft it. That's hours and hours of gameplay. Now, I would love to speak with Helk sometime to discuss the game. We could sit down in the awesome in-game chairs and a nice little TV studio role-player base and have a chat. Let me know if you want to do something like that. It would be awesome. So I gave my thoughts on the general status of many areas of the game. But here's a concrete list of suggestions that could improve gameplay. I've included the list in a document below for your quick reference. Check it out. 1. Do not introduce the team system. 2. Do not allow the compass in vanilla Rust. The map is already overpowered. 3. Make barrels drop low-tier guns more frequently and add a very small chance of getting a high-tier item or blueprint. Also, on that note, please rework airdrop loot tables. 4. Make ladder, water pipe shotgun, and most cosmetic items default blueprints. 5. Rebalance the tiers of researching items. 75 scrap to 250 scrap is a big jump. 6. Make the darkest part of night last 2 minutes max. The current semi-dark night when the moon is out should last most of nighttime. Allow for a quick getaway with the darkest night, but don't make it an extended period. 7. Increase the auto turret cost. Auto turrets are extremely strong and can shut down an area very effectively. Increase the cost quite significantly and rebalance loot tables to make them rarer. Also make shotgun traps slightly rarer and a bit more expensive. 8. Make open doors vulnerable to tools and easier to break. 9. Increase the bleeding caused by primitive weapons. 10. Bring back small official servers. But what do you think? Make sure to leave a like so people can see this video, as well as a comment about what you think should be introduced or removed from Rust, or what you like or just want to see in the future. I'll make sure to read every single one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.